Hello and good evening. Hashtag my global family. This is Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world and real life Esleto Pueblo superhero. I am also proud to be a two-spirited indigenous warrior. Welcome to hashtag Coyote's Global Superhero Family. This is podcast episode 3, hashtag superhero armor, ready for battle. And I am yours truly, Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world, and also proud to be pastor of Coyote's Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Race Theory, and Medical Marijuana Family. Our services drop right here on Facebook on Mondays. And I am happy to introduce my dear sister. Off to you, sis.
Hi, global family. This is Rija from Madagascar, and welcome to this podcast number 3. So, ready to listen to the global sisters ready for battle. And I'm gonna give the floor to my sister Rachel. Come on, Rachel.
Hi, everybody. This is Rachel Terlop. I am a first grade teacher during the day. I am a PhD student at night. I am a daughter. I am a scientist. I am a mess maker, and I'm an author. And I am so excited to be here with you this evening, talking about Dre's original theory, walking as coyote, indigenous based critical race theory. Dre, where do you want to start tonight? This is our superhero armor ready for battle.
I love our theme, family, because I think it is very appropriate, considering this coyote has fully embraced my male self. I love myself. I feel confident because I have been putting my armor on, family. And putting on male clothes has made me feel like a complete person. For the first time in my life, I feel completely comfortable in the skin. And that's powerful, family, and that's meaningful, because how often do we get that gift of being true to ourselves and honoring who we are, regardless of giving a fuck what other people think? I am 40 years old and I am damn proud of everything I've done in this world. And in 120, when I go meet my ancestors, I know they will greet me with joy because I have done the mission that they sent me here to do. So I think armor is incredibly important this week because it allows for us to reflect on those moments when we know we are exactly where we are meant to be. So I think we're going to start off with that. But before we get started, family, in sharing our armor stories, this coyote would like to start with an opening prayer. Don't forget, an opening prayer in the House of Coyote's Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Theory, and Medical Marijuana. We are not a house of God. We are not a house of religion, but rather we are a community of love, support, and care. Our readings come from our original indigenous epistemologies and ontologies and ways of walking in this world, or they come from critical works like Michelle Alexander's New Jim Crow, which is about dismantling the cradle to prison pipeline. Modern day slavery still affects all of our families and communities, family, and until we are all free, none of us are. So family, our church is a spiritual community, and I use the word church and talk about it in a colonizer way because during COVID, when my Gammy told me to establish this house, she told me to use the word church because white people and indigenous colonized people and all of my brothers and sisters around the world would recognize it as a place that would be welcoming. Because that, at the end of the day, family, is what our houses of worship should be. They should be places where we love, where we connect, and we celebrate our differences. So family, our church is about creating that community, about embracing difference, about working on ourselves, literally through reflection, in calling out the privileged and dehumanizing situation in which we find ourselves. So when we pray, we talk to our ancestors, and I literally talk to my Gammy and my Papa, my great grandma, and my aunties who've gone, and I ask them for their blessings and I ask them for their guidance, because that is what prayer should be. Prayer should be connecting with who we are, and it will allow us to lift up ourselves and each other. Dear Gammy, it's your favorite trickster coyote grandchild. And I know that you are watching, and I know I see a scowl on your face. And I know you might not understand who I am now, but I know that you loved me my entire life, and you gave me the courage and confidence to be a brave warrior today. And I thank you for that, Gammy. I thank you for that confidence, and I thank you for that love, and I ask for you to send that to our people. We need that love. We need that confidence. We need that safe space. That person we can go to who will make everything okay. So thank you, Gammy, for being that fierce and sometimes scary warrior woman. Because I could hide behind you, and I knew that you would defend me, and I would be okay. So thank you, and may you rest in peace and bless all of those warrior spirits in our lives whom we run to for love and support when we need it. Dear Papa, I miss you. And I think of you often, Papa. On my two-spirited journey, I can honestly say you would have embraced me with joy, and you would have taken me and hugged me and told me, Hita, it's gonna be okay. Because you were embodiment of love itself, and I feel your spirit with me. May you send that feeling of safety and love and unconditional acceptance to all of us, because as we don our armor, we do it for a reason. We do it because people hurt, and because there is pain in this world, and we sometimes pay it forward. So allow us to have someone who is going to always treat us with unconditional love and kindness. May you rest in peace. To my great-great-grandpa, Pablo Abeita, true revolutionary and athletic public statesman, dear sir, you walked with presidents and you wrangled institutions. Please give those people in power the wisdom and courage to do what is right, even if it will get them out of power. We need new leaders, and we need new change, and allow us to be that wind that brings it. To all of our aunties, uncles, cousins, gammies, those adopted in blood who've treated us with kindness and respect, please send your blessings to your community members all around the world as we continue to survive and thrive today. Family! Dear sisters, would you like to add anything else to the blessing today?
I was waiting for the amen.
Amen.
I was closing my eyes.
I don't have anything to add. I appreciate the way you talk directly to I appreciate how you talk directly to the people who have helped you become you. What a beautiful way to pray.
I hope we all create those humanizing habits. Whoo! Woo-wee! Sisters, are we ready for this evening? My dear amazing siblings.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited. I've been thinking about this all week long.
So family, just to recap, we are using this coyote's original critical race theory, Walking as Coyote. Don't forget, my original critical race theory espouses that we embrace our identities, our positionalities, the complexities of our lives, and that ordinary people can step up and become extraordinary during times of COVID, in times of need. And if COVID is not a time of need, family, then I don't know what is. So join us in becoming and being the change we need in this world. Tonight, we are going to be focusing on Tenet 2, harnessing the superpowers and training with super tools. So I always try to be accepting of who I am, and that is both a child of modernity and not of this earth as an indigenous two-spirited warrior. So yeah, I'm gonna use superheroes, family. So Superman said, "I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." And then this next quote, family, as modern day superheroes of all of our respective global communities, we call upon our superpowers and utilize our super tools to continue to lead, defend, and protect our communities. Our superpowers can include strengthen our identities, the love and support of our families, our home languages, as well as the resiliency of our communities. So family, I pulled this quote from one of my favorite readings. It's pulling stories from Dartmouth graduates, which this coyote is proud to be an alumni of. But it really talks about us being pulled in multiple directions. This coyote was, I don't know if it's a mark of pride, family, but I always tell my students, I got kicked out of college my sophomore year, family. I was not sure that I was going to graduate. I did not understand why I was at Dartmouth College. I was a privileged res girl, and I was drowning. So I appreciate the Dartmouth stories, the Dartmouth narratives, because that struggle was revolutionary, and it literally influenced and changed the rest of my life. So this excerpt is from the hashtag the Superpower of Fry Bread, Indigenous Identity and Community Building. And this is from Ruth Begay Two Bears, I Walk in Beauty. We flapped dough with our hands, joked, laughed, and sweated on each golden round of fry bread was snatched from us as the next hungry customer. I'm sorry, family, I'm also blind, so I'm trying to read this from far away. By the end of the day, okay, we're starting over. The Superpower of Fry Bread, Indigenous Identity and Community Building. We flapped dough with our hands, joked, laughed, and sweated as each golden round of fry bread was snatched from us for the next hungry customer. By the end of the day, I was covered from head to toe in flour. My back and shoulders were tight, my feet hurt, but I was at peace and happy. I sensed a feeling of camaraderie with the Nads for the first time. After 8 months at Dartmouth, I finally felt like I belonged and was part of the Dartmouth Native American family. Never underestimate the power of fry bread, by Davina Ruth Begay Two Bears. I Walk in Beauty, published in 1997, and this was page 59 and 60. So dear family, as we are learning about the superpower of fry bread, I want you to reflect about our own cultural food, our own cultural heritages, and how we walk in the world, and how that is for us and always a source of strength. So as we are going to be reflecting on our superpowers and super tools, we are going to start our first weekly segment, family. And the first weekly segment is the superhero check-in. We are going to go each through a battle of the week and a hashtag superhero moment. So who's going to go ahead and get us started this evening?
Yeah, go ahead, Rachel. Can you go? Because you are the latest. You have the latest hour in this universe. So
Thanks, Rija. That's really kind of you. So the battle of this week has been around how I spend my time. My big battle is trying to balance all of the things that I've found myself or I've worked myself into. I don't want to say I fell into. I'm intentional with my time. I make informed decisions. I really do try. I really do try to be to be not, you know what? No, I try to scrutinize who I spend time with, what I put my energy into, right? Like I don't have time to waste because of all the things that I'm working on and working towards and working for. And so this week I've been thinking about school because with the new COVID protocols in our elementary school, we're washing our hands before and after every time we do anything. It comes up to like 8 hand washings a day. It's taking up so much of it's just taking up so much of the day. And I'm thinking about, oh, I wish I could be doing this, or I wish I could be doing this. And so my advisor was talking to me about how I do need to think about, with dissertation coming in the next year or so, let's think about how you spend your time because there are only so many hours in the day. And so she was like, you can find other work with an educational degree. So I'm going to say that that's my battle of the week, is figuring out how to spend my time while also supporting myself, because I currently live in the United States. I live in Alexandria, Virginia. So it is a privileged area, and the price of my parents' home in Ohio is what we paid for a 2-bedroom condo. That, like, money. Nope, I can only pick one battle. Money is not the battle this week. But for superhero moment of the week, I think my superhero moment is gonna be making it to tomorrow, the stamina. This is the first 5-day week of school in this school year that we have had. And oh my gosh, earlier when you were reading that excerpt about fry bread, Dre, and I heard the line about the feet aching. I right now have 2 water bottles under my heels. I am like rubbing cream into my feet right now because my feet ache, because I'm trying so hard at school because I get to be in person, right? So like I am up. I am as within 6 feet of that kid that I can get, so I can at least hear them. I can try to hear them over the mask, over the other kids, just so we can have some semblance of like, who is this person? So my superhero moment this week, I'm just gonna say, is my stamina. I'm proud. I'm proud of myself for making it through a week and making time to take care of myself. So that's where I'm at. What are you thinking about?
Woo, woo, woo.
Hey, nice,
Yeah,
Rachel.
how about you? What was your? Do you want to start with your battle of the week, Rija, or do
I'm gonna start with superhero moment because when I am hearing you, it seems like it's contagious. So I had the high stamina to, hear. I already shared with Drea about, my excitement to finally teach, starting next week, and it's um, a grad student class, and they gave me the opportunity to teach any class related to culture and society, but it is also related to my field of interest. So on the spot, I gave the title of the course Identity, Culture, and Writing.
okay.
So I'm gonna uh, uh, teach them or share with them how to write about yourself, and because often those master degree students, they have a writer block, and I believe that if you really have passion on what you do, you can move on always, and this is not I experienced that, and this is not something that is not true, but not false, but it's very true. So I did my prep, to prep for my course on the go during when there was a traffic and everything. So I think you just need to find that angle. So you should not struggle finding the time. It should urge you, right? And I think it's divine. It's not from you. It's the it's the instinct, it's the universe, it's so holy inside you to have that. And I think that's a privilege, that's a god given, I can even say that. And so I'm so thankful for that excitement. So that's why I didn't want to start with my struggle, because with the battle was I didn't feel well last week. I didn't feel well for the last 3 weeks, and my asthma attack. I think I talked a little bit of it, and then finally I had to see the doctor because it kept waking me up in the night, and I had to get checked in, and it seems like my lungs are may have an infection or something, and it has a lot of mucus. And the doctor said, like, now we understand why your asthma is there, because there's a lot of, so something is not right there. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I waited 3 weeks, and then because asthma is a disease that signals when the weather is going to change. And finally it rained 2 days ago, so that's how, so we get sick until things are stable, and then now it's a full moon or something, and it's hard. But anyway, but despite all of that, I'm still here, and I am thankful for that. And that's why I really like this podcast, because it's a unique opportunity to share about what's going on within our global families. And it doesn't matter in the US, in Madagascar, we got the same stamina. So the world is one intertwined. So yes, I give the floor to our sis Drea, who is also our host tonight.
Oh, I am actually going to go ahead and hot potato that back over to our sister Liah, who was with us earlier, family, before we logged on. But this coyote takes a little bit to get fly. So we logged on a little late this evening, but Liah popped back in. So I'm going to go ahead and send it over to her. Liah, we are still on the first segment. So we are talking about our super highlight of the week and our win and our loss. Not our win and our loss, family. I take it back. I take it back.
So our win and our loss.
Our high and low.
First things first. Sorry. What? I'm sorry.
It's
our battle and our
battle
negative
of the week
and positive,
superhero moment. Sorry, family. I had
So I guess my biggest win this week is, there were some students a couple of weeks ago that came to me and told them how they were struggling with online learning and how their parents were expecting them to work, to do the household chores while at the same time they have to attend the online courses, and they really don't have any option. They don't really have any I guess courage to say no to their parents, because that would be very disrespectful according to them. And so so I try to help them by by asking them to write what's their priority right now, so priority assessment. And so I asked them to create a list between the first and the next priority within this whatever happening to them right now. And so of course the priority is their study, right? But it turns out that for all this time, they haven't really talked about how important this is to their parents, and their parents, being, the traditional parents that they are, don't really realize that, by asking them to join the household chores in a online learning time, it actually intervening their kids' learning performance and motivation. And so, and this week they came to me, they thanked me by, for giving them a new insight of how approaching this thing. So I guess that's my biggest win this week. Does that answer your question, Andrea?
Absolutely, sis. Did you have something that you overcame personally that you wanted to share with us?
Oh, honestly, Andrea, like my two kids were sick this week. So this is probably explaining why I have this, vomiting and dizziness as well, because I've been very sleep deprived over the last few days because I have to take care of them. They they don't really sleep very well. They wake up like, every hour during the night. So we don't really have anyone helping. We don't have nanny and things like that. We just, go back and forth with my husband and changing shifts, taking care of the kids at night. So it really affects my, I guess, my physical health. But but I guess the positive thing from that is that, apparently my daughter is learning how to walk. So she has his first step. Oh my God. I was really, I'm so happy. I know. I feel like I'm, I can see that she's, she's going to college soon. Oh my God. And so that's, I guess, it helps a little bit, something good happens after the bad thing. So it's really emotional to me.
And Hazel's
sorry, what?
I said Hazel's 10 months.
Yeah, she's 10 months and she's learning to walk. Oh my God. And she refused to eat like the soft food that I usually give her. She's starting to increase, to level up her food texture. So that's a good thing.
I need new pics, sis. I haven't got pics in a while. And Asu,
sure, I will.
Asu is you said 21 months earlier?
Yeah, 25 months actually.
25. That's amazing. And hashtag global family. I keep dropping my bowl. Well, that's not exactly what I was going to tell you guys. But I am also, in addition to being a pastor of the first critical race indigenous based church, I am also a critical race whiteness intersectional scholar, researcher, activist. And I just want to kind of put some of this in reference. So when Liah says like I don't have a nanny or anything, it's not that, everyone in America, she believes everyone in America has a nanny. It's literally the socioeconomic difference between being a professor at the university, working at the university as a student.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, I should have explained that. Thank you.
No, go ahead, sis. Go ahead. Because Americans would be like, oh, she might think everyone in America has a nanny. Or, we might assume everyone in Indonesia has a nanny. But go ahead. Take it.
Yeah, sure. So, to those who might wonder why I said that, it's actually because, as a professor in Indonesian university, you expected to work full-time, right? So it's really impossible to have like being a full-time mom and being a full-time professor at a university. It's really hard for you to, how do I say it? Like to juggle between each responsibility every day. So normally what people do is, especially the women, academia, they hire a nanny to take care of their kids during the day when they were working in the office or when they are teaching. So I don't have that because, for some socioeconomic status. So I don't really have that. So I'm, work. I try to, handle everything alone. So that's why I said that. Over to Andrea.
I love you, sis, so much. And just for Americans, the differential for dollars to any of our international brothers sisters, especially coming from Asia, East Asia, and African countries, it's ridiculous, family. Like
Yeah.
$800 to $1,000 in the United States. I mean, you know, working class, but in African Indonesian countries, you're 1% of the population. So Leah, just
Oh,
to follow up,
definitely.
how much would a nanny cost in American dollars, do you think, a month?
Oh, okay. Well, I actually need to do some math for this. So, but like roughly maybe, hold on, $500 a month, and that's crazy for me.
$500.
I mean, for two kids. Not. Did I say 500? Sorry, $50 a month, and that's crazy for me.
I was gonna
For
say
one kid. Sorry.
that's almost
Sorry,
like,
that was. No. That's crazy.
that's American prices at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think that's about the same here.
$50.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50.
$50 per kid, and that's not even like a whole day. It's only like half day. So yeah, it's crazy, sis. There's no way I can afford it right now, so that's why.
Thank you so much for sharing, sis. That's amazing. And that's why we do this podcast, family. That's why I am creating a global family to transform this world, so that we literally can unite across nations, across languages, across faiths, from different backgrounds. All of the amazing warriors tonight on our podcast and every podcast that we host are educators. And we are here trying to change the world, literally teaching first grade, teaching high school, mentoring, doing research in all the communities in countries around the world in different languages of different faiths. And we're all brought together because we care. Because at one point, we made a connection with each other and we decided that that person was important enough to actually spend time and care and love with. And that's why our lives will forever be changed, family. You're looking at the superhero team, but you better watch out because you know this guy is going to be president of the United States by the time I'm 64. And Rita and Leah are coming to the United States. Family, to Gammy's ears. My sisters need to come to the United States, family. Their work is too important. They are too brilliant. Rija, literally the former and recent Minister of Education for the fucking country of Madagascar, family. A fucking country. How many of us can say that we have served in such a capacity for our nation? And that is my brilliant sister right here. So I'll be damned if I don't work to make sure both of my sisters come here. Leah is an educational psychology background, family. She literally was a Fulbright scholar here at the University of New Mexico. And I don't know if you all know how competitive it is to become a Fulbright scholar, how difficult it is for both of these amazing women to get to the United States to even pursue higher education. They're fucking brilliant, family. And I should also say they are consultants of the Abeita Consulting Group. And we are going to be starting an international speaker series featuring my amazing sisters. So family, please check out our upcoming website for a small fee that literally will transform their lives. Again, American dollars to Africa and Indonesia changes lives. They are doing amazing work in the communities, family, and this coyote needs help supporting them, shining light on them, and making sure they have the resources they need to be successful. So again, direct message me, email us at the Abeita Consulting Group at gmail.com, visit our website at abeitaconsulting.com, because literally, family, these brilliant, I have not tooted Rachel's horn yet. She's gonna get there, family. She has a book. I'm just saying, how many of us have books published? An amazing children's book, and she's going to tell us more at some point. But I'm just saying, y'all, you guys think that I do crazy stuff? These women, my sisters, my motherfucking family. Thank you, Gammy. I am cussing a lot, you guys. Male Dre likes cussing, and she likes her threads. Dude, all of my suits are Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, and Michael Kors, family. I got expensive taste. Goes back to privilege. But I'm just saying, family, I get off track. My sisters are brilliant. We're gonna transform the world. And if you want to join either our consulting group, become a volunteer, or even be a guest star on our podcast, you go ahead and you contact us. All right, family, let's go ahead and go to the next seg. Oh, I don't think I went. Did I go? I don't remember. Okay. My battle of the week. I'm just gonna say, you guys check my videos out. You will know my battles of the week when you check out my videos all week. It started on last Friday. I'll just say that. Anyways, family, check out my videos. I don't want to take too much more time, but I do want to say that I have to reflect on privilege. So my partner has been sharing the news, so I guess I can share the news. But for a moment, we were insecure as far as income. And he carries the entire weight of all this magnificence on his shoulders, family. This coyote, I make $1,500 a month, working 80 hours a week being a GA, which is awesome. But I also have gotten slowly maneuvered out of higher ed in all the adjunct positions I've had. And I'm not saying it's because I'm revolutionary, but I'm saying it's because I'm revolutionary. So our income is kind of, it's not always stable because I get student loans, I get some scholarships, and I get partial payment for GA-ships. So to hear that my partner's income is potentially at risk is very terrifying for me, especially if I'm having a PTSD attack, I'm depressed, and I'm stuck in my room for 3 days. So you get that news and you get anxious. And everything seems to be tumbling down a deep, dark corner because you have instability and you don't know what's going to happen. But the highlight of the week, family, is it's been locked down. My partner literally is going to be getting a very huge pay bump, which is unfortunately what he should have been getting because we're good people, family, and we literally give our labor away. So I'm saying, family, the win of the week was thank you, Gabby, for sending us job security so this coyote can be crazy a little bit longer. Thank you for allowing my partner to finally have resources and support that he needs. But family, I realized I can function and I can do crazy again and I can go support people again and I can be the shoulder to cry on again because I know my bills will be paid. Because I got my student loans and my scholarship deposited in my check yesterday. And because I know that I can pay my bills till January. Because if you're a grad student, you kind of pay your bills in chunks and you plan out the next 6 months and hope you get it until the next payment comes in, which should be around the end of January, right? So I'm just saying, family, I realized my mental health was directly related to how much money was in my bank account. And I could not do that for my global family. I need to be a millionaire, family. I need to be a billionaire so I could help people when they need it. But I realized that is the insidiousness of our society. We have all these people who are medicated, like this coyote who's 100% medicated the time I'm awake with medical marijuana because I've survived trauma 3 times. But we have pharmaceutical companies that are literally putting people in antidepressants that will make them suicidal if they dare get off. Heaven forbid they lose their insurance and have no longer access to meds. So I'm asking us, if we're telling people to medicate because we can't get them jobs, we can't get them healthcare because the education system is dehumanizing, then what the hell are we doing? So I'm asking you, family. I could not solve my friends' problems because I could not give them money. But as a society, as a government in the goddamn richest country in the fucking world, why the fuck can't we help our own people? So I'm just saying, family, I'm angry, I'm privileged, I'm thankful, but I also want those assholes in Washington to get off their asses and get us fucking healthcare during a global goddamn pandemic. And that's my 2 cents. So, sorry, family. There's a lot going on. I love you all.
Number 2, sorry for processing.
Number 2, positionality matters. Digging into intersectionality. So in our next segment, family, we are going to be picking one aspect of our amazing and complex selves and talk about it, how it affected us over the last 2 weeks. Rachel, you're up. I love you guys.
So I love you too, first of all. Positionality Okay. I have had a really interesting 2 weeks with positionality because the gap between early childhood education teacher and researcher is getting wider and wider. So at school, for example, one of our professional development meetings this week, we call it a CLT. It's a collaborative learning team. And so in this meeting, for 10 minutes, we were talking about what goes in a student's book box. So like what is deemed acceptable to go in the box where the kids are allowed to keep their like 5 books. So it was like they can put their poetry notebook in here. They can put 5 books. They can put a notebook. And I'm like, we are spending our time and brain power and capacity talking about policing what can go in a kid's book box, right? So like that's happening during the day. And then at night, I've really hit my stride as far as researching and writing, and like I'm getting in a routine. So I got a chapter published. I have another chapter under review. I have an article like for a journal under review. I'm swinging my eye right now. But all that to say is at school, I feel like I'm babysitting, and at night, I feel like I'm crushing it, right? I'm writing, I'm connecting, I have you know, and so it just like the gap seems to be getting wider. So when I'm thinking about positionality and intersectionality, I am just thrilled to say that I have finally figured out a way to bring all of the different parts of myself together. And I had a meeting today with the chair of my committee, and we have like, I have a research plan. I have my coursework figured out for what I'm doing so I can be on track to graduate and like move out of here because it is so expensive to live here that we have not been able to save money. Like we just haven't been able to save, and we even went into debt buying a place and borrowing money because our apartment complex was raising our rent $400 during a pandemic. So like it's now cheaper for us to pay the monthly mortgage. It's half. It's half. But anyhow, all of that to say, I am I'm straddling all the different worlds, but this is the first week that I actually feel like I know where I'm going. Like I can actually envision a world for myself next month, next year, 2 years. And because I have depression, because of anxiety, because I'm living through this trauma and this, not in the same way you are, but because I'm living through this global pandemic, I don't feel like I've been able to see a future. Every day, everything seems like the world is ending on a daily basis. And I'm thankful that I have an idea of what a dissertation could look like. It feels great to have some type of purpose because having one semester at George Mason before the pandemic, I'm doing this from this room. I have done 3, I'm in year 3. So I have done 2 years of this program from this room now. So like, I have never met people in my committee before. It's bonkers. And I have a path. I found the path. I at least was able to cut away enough of the brush. So I'm feeling this week like I feel confident in my connections. I feel confident in my community. I feel confident in my position within that community. I do not feel like a burden. I do not feel like I'm not supporting, not helping, not connecting. I feel like with all of the positions I am in, I feel present, and that feels great. And it's also exhausting. So that's where I am at. Liah, Rija, Dre, who feels like sharing their positionality this week?
Okay. Can I go, Andrea? Rija, can I go first?
Yes, go ahead, Leah. I was about to ask.
All right.
So yes, go ahead.
So yeah. So I guess it's pretty much the same experience with positionality that I have with, as racial. So I don't know if I have told you guys, but like I'm and some of my friends here that are, that are in the psychology related field are working on establishing a unit in our campus where, we provide some kind of a safe space for students to express, to consult their challenges in learning or dealing with, their academic responsibilities. Something, I know it's pretty common in the US, but not in my campus. So we are working to develop that, space for our students and hopefully for fellow professors as well. Because honestly, working as an academia in Indonesia can be very challenging sometimes, like for various reasons. And so I personally kind of like think, well, we have to have that, we have to have that unit that specifically designed to help the psychological challenges that all of us face in this campus. And so I gathered all of my friends, and I present my ideas, and everyone uh, happily accepted the idea and they supported it, but nobody has like the courage to talk about it to the higher level, at least to this university, policymakers. And so I decided to be the one who was gonna bring this up to these people, right? And so I set up an appointment with the university president. And he's happily accepting my my invitation, I guess, to talk about this. And so yeah, and long story short, he supported it and he's gonna work on I don't know, like we need some kind of document with his signature on it that says that this unit is going to be officially used to help students and fellow Civitas academia in my campus to talk about their psychological challenges during their academic journey. And so yeah, I guess that's like, I don't know, I'm only like a new professor here, but like maybe my experience that I got in American university gives me the courage to create this thing and bring it up to like the higher level. So I guess like in that case I feel very empowered. You know what I mean? Like I have this some kind of, I know some of my friends here said that yeah, we have been thinking about that, but we don't really have the courage to talk about it to the higher level. So I was like, why wouldn't you, right? So
I love you so much, Leah, so much. Oh my God, you guys. And we've come so far. I've known you for what, 6 years now?
Yeah, pretty much
like that. I'm just saying, from Leah, who came to the US like 8 years ago now, family, and for her to march up to the president, I just gotta say, sis, kudos. Just gotta
thank
say.
you so much.
I
I actually, I learned a lot from you guys. Like you guys are, I don't know, agent of change, within our capacity, within our community. So I know I have to do something. I know I have to, pay it forward to these people who I've been helped a lot by, people like you guys. So I know I have to make sure that people around me are helped by my existence. So this is probably the least I can do, right? So yeah, it's I don't know. I hope that answer your questions, Andrea, about positionality.
Absolutely, sis. You're a hero. I love you.
Love you too. Love you too. Sorry. So what about you, Rija? I wanted to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, Liah. Well, that's amazing, and congratulations, because that's what we want in this world. I like
Thank
the
you.
sentence that the world is intertwined. So that means
Yeah,
even if you
right.
are in Indonesia, you learn from the other part of the world. And I need to give credit to UNM and to the US, because that's where I come from a society that where girls and little people like us, you know what I mean, Liah? We are not big people from our community. I started little. I was small. I live in the ghetto, and nobody, when they say like, who is the Minister of Education? Rija? Rija? Really? And when they ask like whose daughter I am, and my parents are so completely unknown, they're like, oh, so we have a group uh, who owns the country in Madagascar. Like you need to be so and so's um, descendant to be part of the government. And for my case, that's not it. And they're surprised. And I think the mentality, the American drive and stuff that I accumulated for 13 years. I lived in the US for 13 years. Yes, Rachel. Yes, in Albuquerque, I visited 35 states. I met, yes, politicians, the governor. I met Deb Haaland. I met, so I talked about politics and stuff with those people. So, and those are the kind of roots, and that pushed us as well to be so vocal and, express. And I guess you can't be the same after you keep your root, of course, but you get some other things. And I think that's you can't be fully Indonesian or fully Malagasy. You have some sort of other types of identities that always emerge. And I think Liah and my global family keep that's not keep let it grow. Don't limit yourself to just one persona or one identity. The world is big, and the sky is our limit. So, on to you, my sis Drea, the host of this podcast number 3.
Thank you, sis. You guys, I'm confused. I have to go back to positionality, right? So going to gender, sexual, racial identity, class identity. I have a lot of privilege when it comes to positionality. And I have 2 points of privilege. One this week is finding male Dre. I knew about me and I wanted to come out about November last year. And I've been talking to my bestie Angelica. It was confusing. And I've been talking to Neil with it because he's my best friend in the whole wide world, love of my life. And I know gender identity and sexual identity are incredibly different, but for me, it made sense. I love both men and women. I am both a man and woman. It made sense. Everything snapped. COVID was fucked up, but it made me deal with a lot of my shit. And every time I thought I had dealt with my shit, something else happened, family. and the suicide scare in 2018 because the white male tenured professor used me to sleep with students and used my parties and used my house as a hunting ground. I thought I got over that shit. I thought I was ready for academia because I lost my voice. And then COVID hit. And then during COVID, I'm a man. And that took a lot to process. So I've been thinking on it since November. And I told the American Education Research Association Council. It was the first meeting when I had Rose as chair, and it's everyone who's on council from last year, everyone who's on council from this year. It's 66 people of the most influential, powerful people in the United States in education. And they're talking about transgender policy for our entire organization, which means no less than millions of dollars for any city we go to because 15,000 people come when we call. And they're talking about the violence hitting transgender communities. And I am not transgender, I am two-spirited. And that means I am both male and female in this body. And they're saying if you are in a state that is Republican, that is passing dehumanizing and violent legislation against people who are LGBTQ and marginalized, against my people, then we will not come to your state. And they're talking about it as we always have to debate everything we vote on. And Gammy told me it was time. And she told me to speak. And I wasn't going to say anything yet. And I shared that I was bisexual and that I had come out to my sociology class 15 years ago before I came out to my family because I was colonized as Catholic and I'm Indigenous. And I felt more comfortable telling my students than my family. Not my partner, who always knew, but my parents, who are in their 70s and 60s. So, I tell 66 strangers that when they vote on this, they should not think of an abstract stranger, but that they should think of me. And at that moment, I am proudly wearing my full traditional dress. And you know, this coyote shines bright. And they thanked me, and they voted, and they passed it. And it has taken me until September to be able to put on clothing that makes me feel like a complete human being. And I think that that privilege of being able to walk into Dillard's and Macy's and spend, because we have lines of credit, and let's be honest about what America does with credit, but that I have no fear now because of my partner's job offer, and that we could pay those bills off. I went a little crazy. So thank you to Carolyn who helped me put back a third of it today, family. But I still dropped a significant amount of money. And that was my privilege to do so while at the same time giving me the gift of humanity. And with that, we're going to go to the next segment, which is weekly segment number 3. Privilege saves. The lived experiences of educational warriors matter. And during this weekly segment, family, we talk about how even though we are varied from different diverse backgrounds, languages, countries, faiths, and positionalities, we all are privileged in that we are able to be educational warriors.
We are privileged to be educational warriors, and to the people who are taking their time to hear what we're saying and sharing and to hear all of our stories. That's a privilege too. Liah and I were talking before you were logged in, Rija, and we were talking about like what a privilege it is that we're even able to connect and make time and for each other. So yeah. Dre, thank you so much for being willing to share all of that. And I am so glad that I got to see the stuff that you got. And you look fantastic. And the fact that you're so excited about it is like the highlight of the night.
Thank you. I just got terrified for a second, you guys. I've been muting myself because I'm blowing my nose and stuff. I'm wondering if it's muting us on Facebook. I hope not. I hope they can still hear us. So, family, I apologize, but I will make sure to not mute anymore. I can go ahead and go real quick.
Okay.
Privilege is always fucking in my life, family. And this highlight of the week is I'm thankful for it because on the res, I'm a prince. I was royalty. So my dad worked for Sandy Labs and my mom was a teacher, but they both had master's degrees. My mom did PhD coursework. She was an educator for 27 years. She's an elder of our community. And so growing up, I had opera and Albuquerque Academy every summer, St. Charles, St. Pius, Dartmouth College, French lessons, ballet lessons, European trips. I was very well educated. They bought into whiteness. And that made me a weapon. But today, it brought me joy because my Gammy's house got fixed. It's beautiful. And she built that house in the 1950s. And I always thought of my privilege as a weapon to be used. But it brought love and joy to my mom today because she sent me pictures of the living room and she hired an elder who was an Adobe craftsman and he finished my grandma's house. And he enclosed the last room during a global pandemic because my parents worked so hard, because my mom worked so hard. She had extra money during a pandemic to hire another tribesman to work on her house and bring his crew. And today I saw beautiful pictures. I'll show you guys. And so I'm thankful for my privilege because it fed my mama's soul today. And my Gammy's house is one step closer to being finished. Honestly, family, I don't know if it will ever be finished. And I know we're always talking about money and problematizing it. But today, where are the pictures, you guys? Oh my gosh. Oh, never mind. Because they're where the contractor is. That is the finished room, family. That was a porch before, and what you're looking at now is a patio. So that entire is a huge new room now. Well, it's small now because it's closed. But she also has a custom built glass brick wall. So my Gammy's house got a facelift.
That's incredible.
Passing it to somebody else. Rija, Liah, who wants to go?
Okay, I can go. Rija, can you go first? All right. So
Sure, yeah,
I guess yeah.
Yeah, you go.
All right. So I guess the highlight of my privilege saves this week is well, something to do with the one I mentioned before. The fight, no, not really the fight, like my intention of like creating the safe space for students and fellow lecturers for psychologically supportive environment in the campus. And the other highlight is I get to meet this I went to one of the very isolated villages in my hometown, and then I get to see kids who have never have someone giving them fun books to read ever, and so I was like, I was very touched by, how pure their expressions were when they were thanking me for giving them free books to read. It broke my heart because it turns out that all this time they don't really have access to the public library, which is very far away from their hometown. Also, nobody, like I said before, nobody ever gave them books. And of course, like, it's something to do with the literacy behavior of the villagers themselves, but like, let's not get into that. It's too, it's too complicated to talk about it right now. But like, the highlight for me is like, I can give them smile just by giving them books. I can help them, like, uh, I can help them realize that someone actually cares about their the development of their positive literacy behavior. And so it's a big deal for me. Maybe if I don't have the exposure to, American education, and I myself in my role as a, university professor, I wouldn't have that, you know, ideas as well. I get this idea from lots of many people that I have met over the course of my academic journey, right? And so being able to pass it on to, these kids is actually a huge privilege to me. It's a privilege to meet them. It's a privilege to be able to be part of their literacy development, literacy behavior development. And so, you know, now over to
That's
Rachel.
so,
Yeah.
having all that context is so important, and like knowing that there is such an incredible lack of resources, or
Right.
like even the accessibility to get hands on that.
Yeah.
That's so important to know.
And Rachel, do you know what? Like, and Rija, when I was in the US, I'm a huge fan of like thrift store hunting, right? I have seen how these books are being thrown out. I mean, they don't really throw them out, but like, it's like these books are not like very important for people, So, but when I hunt in thrift stores, I usually like, I wanted to purchase them all, but I don't really have the resources to transport them back to Indonesia, which is which is like takes lots of money,
Right.
But I always dream.
So expensive.
It is very expensive, but it's always my dream to provide these kids with, books that are fun to read, not textbooks, because they don't really like textbooks. But like, even if they don't really like textbooks, having them read something fun can help, right? The literacy behavior development. And so that's really my intention. So what I'm trying to do, I try to save up, a little money every month, and then purchase, like, sometimes it's not even a new book, it's used books, but like in bundles. So I try to purchase them and distribute them to kids, in isolated areas. And honestly, these kids are, you can categorize them into underprivileged kids. And so, seeing them smiling, receiving these books, oh, it's actually the highlight of the day. It's a huge privilege to me.
Leah, send
Yeah.
me the address. I will send you books.
Oh, sure. Are you sure? But it's very expensive to send things here, Rachel.
Let me see what I can do, because I've got students and families who are always doing
Oh,
all
really?
kinds of projects.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. You know what? Like, I have also collaborated twice with a US-based organization, non-profit organization. It's called Darien. I don't know if you guys have heard it before, but like, they send books to, third world countries. So I applied twice, and they accepted my my, how do you call it, like, my I asked them to send me books, and they did. But I customized my book request to the age group that I wanted to target, and they sent me kids books that are super beautiful and super fun to read. And then I distributed the books to these kids, and you know what they say? They call me auntie, by the way. I feel old. Auntie, can you please bring us more books? Because my parents will never be able to buy books for me. Oh, it broke my heart, you know? I wish I can continue sending books, but I have to. It's not fair for me to just focus on them and not, not distribute, the other books, next month in other places, So having someone who is interested in helping like you, Rachel, it's wow. I'm very happy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's why we're doing this work, is so we can just be together and build our communities.
These kids, Rachel, they have never, like, ever seen kids magazine, kids comics in English, so they were like, they look at the books, like they spend a lot of time looking at the books, looking how beautiful the pictures are, and I was like, oh, pure babies, like it's actually very common to see those kinds of books in the US, but not here, it's not fair.
Yeah, please.
So that's what I'm trying to bridge it up. I don't know, like to connecting the dots, connecting the American dots and Indonesian dots. Exactly. I don't know if it makes sense, but like over to, I don't know.
It makes sense. Yeah, I know you're about to share, and y'all, I have to excuse myself. It is 12:17 and I am struggling. I love you all, and I can't wait to get to hear more about your day, and I will text you later this week.
Sure.
All right.
Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.
Hold on, Rachel. Can we let Rachel go to the fourth part? What's the last part?
Oh yeah, the pitch. Your pitch of the week.
Yeah, can you do that?
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Here is my quick pitch. Today, when we were getting ready to talk and share and what we were going to do tonight, we were talking about how our theme of the night is like superhero armor. And when we were talking about it, I used the word costume, and I realized why I said costume. And then this is part of my pitch, is my children's book. It is called Maggie the Mermaid, and it is about a manatee who in the story, she dresses up like a mermaid. And so she goes to school, she's dressed as a mermaid, and the dolphins at her school are not kind about it, and they tease her. But what does she do? She doesn't fret. She goes, she makes an even better mermaid tail for herself. And the story ends with all the other animals in school being jealous and putting on like their version of the mermaid tail. And so when we were talking before we got started, and Dre, you were like, no, it's not a costume, it's my armor. I was like, that is it. Like, that's the word, because like, she is not putting this on as a costume. And like, I'm reading back the words that I wrote, because like, I wrote this book in 2014 and it just came out in 2020, right? So like, publishing process is wild. And so I'm looking at it and it says, Maggie loves to play dress up. And even though her closet was full of costumes, she always dressed up as a mermaid. But it's not a costume. She's not making believe. Like, this is how she's going out into the world. Like, this is the thing that makes her feel strong and brave and confident and her. Like, she invented Mermaid. She did that. Like, that's her superpower. She invented, she created, she did. So my pitch this week is my children's book. If you are somebody who is body positive, is interested in manatees or mermaids, and is interested in inclusive literature because Maggie has two mothers, then you might be interested in this children's book. It is something that I wrote during my graduate program, and it's real now. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. It's at Target and Walmart. And if you go to any of those places.com, you can get her. And because the work the work that we do is to have this translated into how many languages, because like if something's accessible, you got to actually make it accessible. There is an incredible website called italki, and this is also my pitch that has nothing to do with me. This will not benefit me in any way. italki.com is online language tutors. People set their own prices. You can schedule time with tutors and you can learn languages. You can learn languages, and you can share your language with others and earn money that way. In an attempt to better connect with my friends here. One of my friends is in the deaf community. I've been taking ASL lessons. My students at my school, over 80% of my class speaks Spanish at home. So when we're trying to communicate, there is that dissonance. And so I'm taking Spanish. So thankfully to all of the tutors who are on italki, Maggie the Mermaid is now in 15 different languages. So
Woo!
Way to go. Way to go, Rachel. I'm so proud of you.
thanks. Thank you. That's been the thing I've been putting my
So
money
that's
to.
actually the book you write?
Yeah, that's the book I wrote. Yeah.
Her book. That is her book, family. Hashtag my global family. That is this coyote's badass motherfucking community. Turn
I would be more than
family.
happy.
Okay,
Rachel,
one
I
last
would be
request.
more-
Can you put the link on Amazon so that I can see it? Oh my gosh, we are talking to an author here.
Hey,
I'll be more than happy to translate your books to Indonesian. I'm sure that my kids will love it.
Sis, do we have to negotiate a contract then, or can it be featured on the Abeita Consulting Group website?
Oh my gosh, teacher.
Ah!
You know you don't pay me for things.
Okay. I don't pay anyone for anything. I can't afford it.
No, that's what we do. That's what family does. Family is together. Like that's not how family works.
Just kidding, family. We give small amounts of money. Our consulting group pays out small stipends for the research that our amazing consultants are doing in the fields. But that's actually another place where we could use your support, global family. If you would like to donate to the research efforts of either our amazing scholars here, Rijasoa, who does culturally relevant pedagogy in Madagascar, or Liah, who is an educational psychology major, and she does research and she's doing leadership and changing Indonesian culture, one conversation with the president of the university at a time. That would actually help this coyote family, because actually it would help Neil out, family. Because that's what we do, right? And I'm not, this is my little personal pitch, family. If we're going to the next segment, we're going to come back because you guys can have your privilege choice. But help us with the consulting group, family. You're seeing the work we're doing. We need your help. We need podcast editors. We need website designers. I just bought a website for Coyotes Lodge. Look for us, family. It's going to be coyoteslodge.church, coming out in 2 weeks. We're working on pretty much everything. But these amazing scholars would appreciate job offers in the United States. Rijasoa, Dr. Andriamanana, is a brilliant scholar who led her country during a global pandemic. How could your university, how could your nonprofit organization, how could your community organization not use her brilliance? Her professionalism, guest speaking engagements are also available, family. But ultimately, what we're doing is trying to make sure that we create opportunities for others, and that's how we're going to create change in this world. Additionally, my sister Liah could not only use some help with donations for her amazing literacy event, but we still have those baby clothes that are waiting in this coyote's garage to get shipped to Indonesia, so she can start a business that will be a long-term solution for supporting her family on top of her academic amazingness. So what could you do, family? I'm asking you. What can you do to help support? Oh, don't forget to tag Rachel's book. We all need to be getting a copy of the Manatee and Mermaid book. Give me Maggie. Is it Maggie?
Yep, it's Maggie the Mermaid.
Maggie the Mermaid. Family. Male Dre and female Dre both highly endorse this book. And you know, this coyote has 27 nieces and nephews from around the world. I think we might have to be doing a bulk order. I gotta check. All right, family. Thank you so much, Rachel. We love you, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye-bye, Rachel.
Rija and Rachel, who is on their privilege reflection? I forgot. I don't know whose turn it is.
Rija.
Okay, thank you. Wow, this group is amazing. I can't believe this. I'm so glad to be part of this. And I think the privilege that each of us has in many forms and in many aspects really make this group outstanding. And I'm glad I'm be part of this. And the name is so accurate: Global Family, Global Sisters. And this is amazing because when you talk about privilege in the US, what comes to people is usually the material, right? But it's not necessarily the material. What our sister Rachel just shared is about her accomplishment in publishing a book that is unique at of its kind. um, and it's not, she didn't brag about, how much she knows or whatever, but the joy, the satisfaction that she has sharing her idea to the young readers, and what our sister Liah talked about when she gave books to the kids in Indonesia. That's not bragging about possession, about materials, but it's about reaching out regardless of how much money you have or how much time you have. And that really touches my heart. And that is all about living and existing. You cannot just be, you need to exist, you need to reach out, and that's a privilege. So I guess my privilege is to be part of this, to reach out. I already warned my sister Drea that at some point the electricity may come out, may can be cut off. And some parts, as you know, Liah, in a developing country, not everybody has access to internet, and this is also a privilege for me. So without the internet, the electricity, the outtake of the power, I couldn't be here today. So I use that as my privilege. So thank you, Global Family. I give floor to Liah to share that privilege.
Okay. Thank you,
Or
Rija.
who's next, whatever.
I think I've already answered the question, but can I go with one more?
Sure.
So yeah, speaking about internet, right? So internet has always been like a luxury thing for most Indonesians. Even if we are shifting to online learning right now, but like sometimes due to the geographical conditions that we live in, the internet network is not very reliable, because whenever there's a blackout, which happens like a lot of times, by the way. So whenever there's a blackout, whenever there is like a storm, the internet connection will be very bad. But like Andrea has been helping me like for I think at least 2 months already, right, Andrea? She has been helping me purchasing like a better internet service, and I'm so proud of, like, yeah, I can now like stream online for my classes, like without interruption, like whatever happens before, I was able to purchase better internet service. And so I think that's a privilege, like you said, Rija. It's a privilege because not everyone can afford it. And so I would like to personally thank Andrea for helping me out in that situation. Thank you.
Anytime, sis. And it's not help, family. What we're doing is these are, again, small stipends that the Abeita Consulting Group offers these amazing professionals in the field, because we need to support their research efforts, right? Americans, and again, I'm a critical race whiteness intersectional scholar. I am not telling you to be like the TV people who tell you to go adopt an African child for $19.99 a month. I am not telling you to go out and buy the friendship of people. Liah, Rija, Rachel, all of my global family from around the world have years of friendship, of struggle, of classes, of family trauma. Not family trauma, but family stuff happens and we help stem the trauma, right? And we've built deep relationships, and it's not the financial support that I have with Liah has been long-term for years too. I just don't want that to be a security either. It wasn't like 2 months ago. It was like, yeah, Liah, let's get better internet. It's been a long time. It stepped up during COVID, but my commitment to her success because of the differential in the United States was so huge. I made that commitment, and that's a lifelong commitment. I am sending money to my sister every month to make sure my goddamn niece and nephew have diapers and formula. So I am not fucking adopting people. They're taking me into their lives, accepting me, honoring me, and loving me back. And so what I'm telling you, family, what I'm modeling here, what I'm sharing with you, when my global family are telling their stories to you, this is not a promotional piece. Yes, we have lives and we are professionals in the field and we need to be compensated for that. But what we're showing you is that people who are incredibly different can create those bonds and can make miracles happen because these people matter. And I'll be damned if each one of us doesn't step up and support emotionally through emails or texts or calls when one of us needs something. And that's what we're modeling here. And that's where we're sharing our lives with you, family, because this is intimate. This is hard to do. But what we're showing you is that authentic relationships can be built between an Indonesian, a Madagascan, a two-spirit indigenous warrior, and a white neurodiverse children's author, first grade warrior, right? And you're going to meet some of our other global family. But what I'm saying is it's deeper than just saying, I know a Black person, I know a queer person. It's getting into their lives. It's learning about what they care about, and it's linking your dreams together so that when you're successful, they're successful. Sorry guys. Okay, let's go to the next section. And I keep forgetting what it is. All right. Whiteness. So in this segment, family, we talk directly to our dear white family. So hashtag whiteness, dear white family, loving critical reflections from your friendly neighborhood and global superheroes coyote family. Oh my gosh, and I have to say, family, Rija and her kiddos are no less important to me. Those kiddos are my family too. And when they're here at UNM, I am their auntie. I make sure they're fed. And I make sure we have dinner with them every 2 weeks. And I make sure that we talk about everything from sex to racism to their own privilege, so that when they go home to Madagascar and they're treated like kings, they don't abuse it. Those boys mean a lot to me and my partner. So family, again, every single person here means something ridiculously deep to me. And that's what we're asking you to do, is don't find friends. Go create and make and fight for your family. All right. That was my dear white family. Dear white family, do all the things I just said. Who's next?
I can go next. All right, so if there's something I can tell white family this week is that, I know that books are probably one of the most underrated things in the US. And, people can buy books and, after they're done reading it, they sell them to thrift stores where there are lots of piles of books untouched. They're left to dust there. But like I was always dreaming about how lucky it is for the kids around me to be able to have access to those books, because books are expensive in Indonesia, at least for the most population standard. It's very expensive. So whether it is new or used, these kids can really use some help from the books that what would most Americans would have thrown away, to the thrift stores. So what I'm trying to say is maybe the the amount of money that you can spend to buy, a cup of frappuccino would be very helpful to these kids if you are willing to donate it uh, to to the work that I'm doing, for example, to buy books for these kids. And what's a cup of frappuccino for you, right? So I guess I also try to say that uh, books or literacy resources in America is probably something that most Americans take for granted, while in Indonesia it's a luxury, so it would be very nice and probably helpful for us, most Indonesians, if you could share some of the things that you don't really need in your literacy section to help kids around me to flourish in terms of positive literacy behavior. So if there's a message that I really wanted to tell these white people, is please open your eyes and mind. Your books can help my kids. So please, I don't know, by any means possible, try to find a way to get involved in literacy, positive literacy behavior development in poor countries like Indonesia. Thank you. Over to Rija, I guess.
Yes, thank you, Liah. I think that's a great message to be sent, and I would reinforce that. A message to my white family people. Uh, Please don't take things for granted. You have so much privileges, and if you can get out of your world, you can reach out. You can see that other people need you, even for the little things, because you can change the world. We can't do this alone. And I would like to add the call of my sister Drea with on these pandemics with the vaccine. And you start with your own country first, with the healthcare, help those who are in need, especially with mental health and those who struggle during these pandemics. And if you can do something, start thinking about it. I know you can do, and whichever join, there's a lot of organizations out there, and there's a Liah's project, who is our sister here, Liah in Indonesia. Go to our website, Andrea Abeita consulting.com. There's a lot of things to do if you haven't found it yet. So thank you, my white family. Give the floor to Andrea Abeita, who is our host today.
Thank you, my amazing sisters. Let us continue on our journey of self-reflection. Don't forget, family, in addition to this being an amazing global family broadcast of celebrating Coyote's family, we are also researchers and educational warriors in different fields in different countries. And what this is literally a data collection. So we are doing critical autoethnography, which means that we write about our own lived experiences, and this is a form of data collection. So instead of going home and journaling or writing prompts, we literally are sharing these experiences with you in these targeted segments over hopefully the rest of our lives, and gathering data. So we're learning something about this. We'll be publishing something about this. And so this is more than just a podcast or an entertainment segment or slash educational segment, but this is literally research happening right now, family. Segment 5, we are going to be talking about keeping our superpowers. We must maintain a humanizing balance between our minds, body, and spirits. So, family, how did we do this week? What do we think? Are we in line? Are we aligned with our mind, body, and spirit? And there's a squeaky door over there. It's killing me. So I'll be right back. Figuratively, Irma.
Right. So I guess I'll go first. So how do I keep balance between body, mind, and spirit? Honestly, bodily wise, I'm not very good. I told you I'm sick and I had vomited earlier. And so, I don't really, find balance when it comes to physical fitness this week. But I try to do, as many responsibilities as I can. But luckily, you know, my my husband is very accommodating. He's willing to help. He participated in childcare as well, and he doesn't really demand me to do this and that for him, which is not very common. That's also a privilege to me. Having a very understanding and accommodating husband is also a privilege to me. So when it comes to physical state this week, I'm very weak, but I'm happy that it doesn't really affect my mind and spirit performance, I guess I should say. So mind, or I guess psychologically speaking, I'm very happy because some of the projects that I worked on shows some, I don't know, some silver lining, I guess, some a bright side. So there is a chance that it's going to work out. It's a lot of people will be benefited from these projects that I'm doing, and it gives me like, ooh, I'm very psychologically empowered right now, and so that's good. That's very good. I hope I still have the energy to keep working on this project so that I can make sure more people can get benefits from these projects that I do. And spirit wise, I guess like I'm still the same as as the last podcast. I try to be as religiously obedient as possible. I try to reconnect. I try to revisit my spiritual well-being by reciting lots of Quranic verses, and try to understand, to connect them with my real life situations. There's always, and I don't know, every time I do that, there's always some kind of energy that I get from doing that. There's always a hope, and like I told you, I guess I have said this before, but there's a specific verse in Quran that says, whatever difficulty that you have, there's always going to be multiple ease behind it. And so it gives me power. Oh, okay, I know my situation is bad for whatever, sometimes if something bad happens, I know it's bad, but I'm sure there's going to be at least two good things happening behind this one bad thing. It's very powerful, So I hope that answered the question, Andrea. Now over to Rija, maybe, or Andrea.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, you mentioned that Quran verse last week as well, and I think it's very powerful. So hang in there, Liah. There's always something good behind our struggles, right? So I read the other day on Facebook Um, Not all storms are there to damage you. Some of them are there to clear your path. So
Wow. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. So
Thank you. That's very
yeah. So
powerful.
yes, and it's not easy to keep the balance, right? So we need to take care of our body, our mind, our souls, our well-being as a whole. I keep doing my Zumba twice a week. I do my prayer. I go to church. I do that healing service, putting hand on people, uh, laying hand on people at church, and to reconnect to God on a daily basis. My meditation, to read and to write. I start to get connected with my intellectual me, because before I was not that engaged. You know, when you are not very stable, why would you do that? I was not at all motivated because I didn't have a position. So why would I? But now I feel like, okay, in 3 years, we can get promoted into associate professor if I work hard. And I was like, yes, I'll do this. Um, and what's of the body? I talked about it, my soul, my mind, and I guess my this world, this friendship, this sisterhood. I remember when Andrea wanted to be friend with me, and same as Neritza, and I was like, I don't need friends, and they said, okay, let's do sisters, and I was like, yeah, that's something else. So ladies, this is something else. You know, the sisterhood, this is not like friendship. Friendship is just like, you know,
Yeah,
the
superficial, more
different.
superficial than siblings and sisterhood, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
So I'd like
yeah, you
to
can add
also
something. Yeah.
add, yeah. So hearing you mentioning something about sisterhood, I remember I had a flashback on how I started the sisterhood with Andrea as well, and Ritza. I love her. Uh,
I
so
know. We miss her so much.
I miss her so much too. Say hi to me for her, please.
I will.
So I remember the first time I met Andrea. So she is literally the only one, at least the only white girl that
I'm
talks to
not
me.
white, by the way.
Well, I at least that time I thought you were white, right? And I'm very happy. I thought, because honestly, Andrea, there is this, I think, I don't know, pre-existing misconception about Americans that we
Yeah.
have, that lots of Indonesians have at the time, when I first arrived in the US, that most Americans are very individualistic. They don't really like, talking to new people. And I have proved it. Like, the day I met you was probably like the second week I was in the US, and no white people in my side ever talked to me like you did. So you talked to me at the time was very, I don't know, at least, oh my God, at least there's someone white, who is willing to like recruit me as her friend. And honestly, like a completely new stranger in an entirely different country, it's it's one of the good things to hear during the first month of my um, your academic journey in the US. And so I also remember, like, a couple of months into the friendship that we started, she decided to be siblings with me.
Oh,
So happy because at least this is
Oh,
not
yeah.
as superficial as I thought it was before, because she considered me. And I remember one time she told me, Leah, I wish we could adopt you. Well, I don't know how adoption works in the US, but like in Indonesia, you don't adopt a sister to be your sister. But hearing her saying that makes me really happy. Okay, at least I'm not, she doesn't consider me like a weird Asian lady from, from an unknown country. like, you know, the impression that I got from most white friends, classmates, for example. And so, and before I flew back to Indonesia, Rija, we decided to have the same Leontine that says "Friend, sister forever." I still keep that. Do you still have it?
I do have it. I have to go find it, but I have
Oh,
it.
go ahead, please. I put in I frame it.
Oh,
Yeah, I actually show it to my kids, and this belongs to Auntie Andrea, and she's very nice, blah blah blah, and everything. And oh my god, what I'm trying to say is, I really cherish the relationship that we have, the sibling, the sisterhood that we have, Andrea. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for remaining to be a sister for me. Thank you.
I love you guys both so much. And they're glamorizing this, you guys. So don't forget, this coyote was like 300 pounds. I was always confident. I've always been a confident motherfucker. But I was 300 pounds. I was chatty and kind of silly. Like I wasn't, I'm a weapon now. I'm a razor sharp threat. But back then, I was a fluffy unicorn. Like I was cute and I was everyone's friend. And these two very intelligent, brilliant women befriended me back, right? I was the weird ass white lady in their minds, right? And yes, even white people think I'm white. Indigenous people, everyone fucking thinks I'm white. I'm not white.
Andrea, can I also add one more thing?
Yeah.
So the day you had, I don't know, the first gathering that you have in your house, that was the day I realized that, oh my God, she's sister with everybody. It's not just me. So it turns out she has like millions of sisters out there, you know? And that's amazing for like a lady, one single woman to handle all of these people. It's super awesome for me. I can never handle that many people in my life, but she's the one, you know, and I probably one of the sister that causes a lot of burden for her, considering that, you know, the first experience of frappuccino drinking that I have is with Andrea. Can you imagine that? Like I was very, very like naive. I don't know anything. And she helps me transition to, you know, this American lifestyles and everything.
Liah, my first experience to go to the mall is with Andrea, with girls. I've never.
Yeah, she's a shopaholic. Is that how you call it?
Yes, you guys are calling me out.
Right.
I love it, but that's what sisters do, family. We go shopping, we go eating, we make merry, we go to each other's houses and watch each other's kids grow up. And it's amazing. I need you guys back here. Again, family, we're going into our next segment. Oh, hold on. Mind, body, spirit. Okay. I am out of whack. I am flying because we're financially secure. I have the ability to. Family, being a vlogger is a privilege. This is my dissertation project. I get to go around and make cute videos about what people do in their own communities and love. I get to highlight artists. I get to highlight local businesses. I created a church and I do services literally every week, most of the time when I try. That's privilege. I'm creating a religion and a new way of being and walking in this world. And no one's realized it yet, but I have a plan because Gammy told me what it is. And that's a lot, family. It is a lot to be on a mission. It is a lot. And I'm calling out the other 1% of all people of color. If you have wealth, help weaponize it to raise up the rest of our communities. There is a giant gap that is growing right now of have and have nots that has been prevalent over the last 2 decades, but we were blind to because we had our own goods. We had our cable TV. We had our Michael Kors purse that we saved up for, right? I am privileged and I literally can go into a store and never have to think about a price limit within reason. 500, right? I never have to go to a grocery store and decide and pick and choose what I'm taking home. Most of the time, family, I spend way too much, and it's horrible because it's half cookies. But that's American privilege, and it's killing us. We're being choked to death by shit. We're working ourselves to death and are anxiety ridden because what? My car is a 2008 and I am going to run that baby until she goes. My truck is amazing. I don't need a new vehicle. But you know what? Foolish coyote 10 years ago, when these two wonderful, amazing human beings met me, I would have not thought twice about getting a $700 payment, dropping $35,000 on something shiny. And I'm ashamed of that. And I'm glad I've grown. And I'm glad that my shopping addiction is now predicated on a wardrobe instead of $35,000 on a vehicle. But America, that's what I'm asking you to reflect on. What are we doing? What are we building? And what are we living for? I literally am talking to all the educational warriors from around the world, and increases in violence in the classroom are getting out of hand. And that makes me sad. Because if we are not there for our youth, if we are not there for our children, if they are so filled with rage and despair and anger that they would rather tear down the building around them and assault and bloody the people around them, then what are we doing to our children? What are we doing to ourselves, family? So I'm just asking you, this coyote's a little out of whack. Because every time I do meet a new human being, they aren't a stranger to me. They're potential family. I am vetting my fellow warriors, my sisters, my brothers, my non-binary siblings, and when I let them into my family, I expose a part of my soul. But in return, I get back tenfold, and we are that much stronger. And that is the work I'm sent here to do. I am sent here to unite the communities and talk to people that no one else can talk to. So, dear family, if you need assistance, if you want to join a global army of warriors who are going to demand change in this world, then you let us know. All right, family, we are on to our last segment, which is Pitch of the Week. I would like for you all, please, to once again go to the Abeita Consulting Group website and think about sponsoring one of our amazing global projects. Rija, what about you? What are you going to be sponsoring this week?
Yes, as I said, it's contagious that the stamina is reaching us here in Madagascar. We are motivated. We are ready to face the world. We are ready to make a change, to reach out to people. Like Rachel mentioned earlier, Liah said about, giving books and helping students who struggle during this pandemic. My sister and my heroine, coyote walking lady, Dre Abeita, is ready to change the world and to reach out to help my kids and other kids, the sister of everybody.
Who is the baddest woman?
Yes, she is. I guess it's contagious, it's influential, right? And I get a lot of energy from what we shared today. So I'm ready to prepare for my classes, uh, for my courses that I'm gonna teach, and the presentation I'm planning to do, and the publication you know, I would like to do as well. So um, let's stick together, because with the little things that we can get, that we can do, we can change this world. We can make a big difference. And I'm excited about this. We have the world in our hands, and we can do this from Indonesia, Madagascar, the US, and everywhere else. So, global family, hang in there, remain with us, bear with us, keep following us, keep following our podcast, because we're going to learn from each other and we're going to change the world. Thank you. On to you, Liah.
Thank you, Rija and Andrea. So my pitch for the week is, please everybody, whoever you are and whatever you are, please join our effort, because at least with my projects, there's going to be a lot of kids who are going to be benefited, and not to mention the students and the faculty members as well. And so by any means possible, I'm sure the description of my project has been posted in the Abeita Consulting Group website, so go ahead and check it out.
Not yet, but it
Not
will
yet.
be next
Oh,
week.
all right, sure. We're gonna work on it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're gonna post the descriptions later. But for those of you who are new to the podcast, one of my project is the baby thrift store project, where I will provide like affordable and high quality clothes for underprivileged kids and mothers around in my community. And also, yeah, it's going to be imported from the US, and importing them from the US to Indonesia takes lots of money. So maybe you can spend, I don't know, a couple of bucks from your Starbucks budget every month to help with the project. Also, I'm working on a project where I provide free books to kids, underprivileged kids as well, in isolated parts of my hometown, where they get to learn your language. So hopefully by language and culture. So hopefully by learning your language and culture, these kids will have the capacity to connect, to help you with the understanding of your understanding about our culture. And so I believe it's going to improve our civilization as a human race in the future, hopefully 10 or 15, who knows, maybe 5 books that you help pay will give these kids long life, no, how do I say it, long life missions to be part of the civilization that all of us are work towards, right? And that's very important, I guess, because a lot of the misconceptions that you have, that most Americans have about Asian countries, including Indonesia, comes from the lack of knowledge that they have about our culture, civilization, and education, and everything else. So, how if you can help, donating books and stuff to these kids, they can someday they will show up, I don't know, in front of you as a international exchange student, maybe, or as a neighbor, as a Asian worker in your community, to help you educate yourself about how things work in different countries, right? And so that's very positive for us as a human race, because we can get along better than we do right now. Does that work, Andrea? Is that too much?
That is awesome, sis. You guys, there's no wrong answers. No wrong answers. All right, let us go and check our PowerPoints. Our conclusion, hashtag my global family. Thank you so much again for tuning in to this hashtag Coyotes Global Family of Superheroes podcast episode 3, hashtag superhero armor, ready for battle. So our ask, as always, family, is to think about donating your actual money, dollars, hard-earned cash. And I know that's a huge ask during COVID, but don't forget hashtag privilege saves during COVID. So, as our amazing sister Liah said, if you can donate, that's $6 for your Starbucks Venti Caramel Frappuccino, please definitely go visit our website, abeitaconsulting.com. Or we also have a consulting group with a collaborative nonprofit pending, family. And that is literally both the company and the nonprofit are being raised by 100% volunteers. So our COO, myself, CEO, our COO is Kyla Charlie. She is an amazing electrical engineer, and she donates her spare time to help this coyote wrangle the website, wrangle social media, basically interesting technology. She also edits our podcast and helps me with taping, family. So she is my best friend who is changing the world because she literally has a sister who's got big dreams. So I'm saying, family, this is a project, this is a labor of love. Everything that is coming out of the consulting group and for our future nonprofit is 100% volunteer. But small stipends are going to the people who do help when we can, right? Regular stipends are going to be starting. And we need to make sure that our professionals in the field are being compensated for the time. So, for example, this podcast is part of their consulting group and will be covered by these stipends. So, family, please help us again. If you would like to support this podcast, think about contributing $5, $10, and I will guarantee that 100% of that will go directly to the scholar of your choice. So, if you would like to literally create the insert your name here Madagascar research grants and fund your own grant to help support the amazing work that Rijasoa is doing, please contact us directly. Small grants, $500, family, in the United States is a significant amount of money, but in Madagascar, it is life-changing. Likewise, family, our amazing sister Liah needs support. We do cover her internet charges. We did cover a cell phone charge, and we are saving up for a laptop computer, family, because she has been an employee of the Abeita Consulting Group for about 2 years now. So again, it is COVID. Help us support our global family. So think about helping support the Baby Clothes Project that is again going to support long-term stability for her family, long-term income, as well as the free literature literature for children. She literally gives out books, family. These kids haven't seen a book. Imagine that in a reality in which you've never seen a book. So please, again, volunteer for our org. Follow us on social media. BJ, I got to put your social media in there. But this coyote thanks you again from the bottom of our heart. Please follow us on now 7 social media platforms, including Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, now Clubhouse, and there's probably a couple others. But check my website, family. You'll figure it out. But family, I'm going to send it over to you two to have the last word.
Okay, I'll go. Well, thank you so much for following our podcast number 3 today. I hope you enjoyed listening to us and you learned a lot or a little bit about each of us. Some about Indonesia, some about Madagascar, but especially all from all of us about education, changing the world, being a warrior, a hero, using our armor today, and we survived this. And please know that we try to do this bi-weekly. So in 2 weeks, we will be here again, and I hope you won't forget that, but you're going to be with us also. Thank you.
One last word. Stay tuned with our programs. Keep following our projects. I'm sure you're not going to be disappointed. Thank you.